here. And happy Canada's National Agriculture Day. We're so glad that you can join us. My name's Laura Gasper, and I'm the Ag Coordinator here at the SunWest Distance Learning Center. And I'm joined today by my daughter, Ella. Ella's in grade 5 and goes to school next door at the Kenaston School, and she's going to help us make butter today with everybody here at home. So I'm going to introduce you to Melissa Gallay, who's a teacher here at the Distance Learning Center and with Ag in the Classroom Canada. Melissa, are you there?
I'm here, Lori. Happy Canada's Egg Day. Woo!
Yes, excellent. I'm so glad that you can be here. And we're going to keep rolling. I know we've introduced you all to Emily Morabito before, but we're so glad that she could join us again today. Emily joins us from Sask Milk. Hi, Emily.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today, and happy Ag Day.
Yes, we're looking forward to learning how to make milk or how to make butter all on our own. And we have one more set of guests. Today, we're joined by the Freet family, who are students here at the Distance Learning Center. So can we say hi to the Freets?
Hello. Hi.
Hi. So we have Grayson, and Grayson, you're in grade
5.
5, and Ryland's in grade
3.
3. And Mom Jackie is with us as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We're going to put you to work. We're going to put you to work in just a minute. So with that, I think we'll start by letting folks know Emily is our expert here, and she works with Sask Milk, and she's going to teach us all how to make butter. But before we do that, we want to make this really interactive, guys. So anybody that's joining us from at home, there's a chat bar on the side. We'd love it if you wanted to tell us where you're joining us from, and if you have kids with you, what grades they're in. We'd love to be able to share that as we're making butter today. So please go ahead and type that in the chat box. Okay, Emily, how do we start?
All right, so I'll just kind of go over some of the ground rules first. So we do want to start with whipping cream. So this is 33% milk fat. And that number is really important because milk fat, or fat, is what actually makes up butter. So what we are going to be doing today is we're actually going to be acting as the separator. So we're going to be separating the buttermilk from the butter. Okay, so you all have your containers ready? Yay. All right, so I'm going to pour mine out on cam just so that you can see. Hopefully I don't spill it. So I'm leaving mine about 3/4 of the way full. I don't know if you can see that. It's kind of hard to see with the milk or the cream line on there. But you need some room so that when you shake it, it can move a lot. We really need that sloshing sound to happen in order for this to happen quicker. The more full that it is, the longer it's going to take. Couple of tips for shaking. You want to make sure that you have your hand around it as much as you can. If you have a bigger container, you can use both hands, whatever is easier for you. But the warmer it is, the quicker it happens. So we're going to be getting a really good arm workout today. It is quite tiring shaking the cream. But yeah, so keep your hand around it and shake it as hard and fast as you can, because it really helps speed up the process. So I have already done it. So while you guys keep shaking, I'm going to explain what you're going to be feeling while this is going on. So there's 3 phases to this. There's your first phase, where we obviously just have the cream in here. And as you're shaking, and honestly, depending on the size of your container, some of you might feel this already, you're going to start to feel it almost gets really heavy. And then eventually, we're not even going to be able to hear anything. You're not going to hear any movement. It's going to feel like something solid is in there. So keep shaking while I do this. But we have this phase, which is actually kind of hard to see, but it's actually whipped cream. So anytime you're making, if you've ever seen somebody make whipped cream, they put it into a blender. If you were to keep going, or sorry, what are those things called?
Blending.
You put it in a mixer, and the longer you leave it in there, it'll get over whipped and turn into butter. So that's exactly what we're doing today. But this whipped cream won't taste as good as the whipped cream that you probably buy at the store, because it doesn't have any sugar in it. So once you get to this phase, keep on shaking. Again, this is the hardest phase to get through because it really feels like nothing is happening in there. And then eventually, once you get through this whipped cream phase, you're going to start hearing liquid again. And that liquid is actually the buttercream separating out from the butter. And that means that you're actually almost done. So you just give it a couple more shakes when you hear the liquid again, and you'll actually see a little bit of butter form. I'll show you guys my finished butter at the end. So Lori, where are you at? Do you still feel some liquid? Or are you getting
I'm still sloshing.
Still hear some sloshing? So it'll help if you can put your, I can't see how you're shaking it, but if you can put your hand around it and go.
I'm still sloshing. How about Grayson? Are you still sloshing? Can you hear it? Yep.
Still sloshing? So what we're doing right now is they've got all these fat particles inside of this liquid. And the fat particles themselves, they really don't like water. So as we're shaking it, we're breaking down the outside, this protective layer on the fat molecules. And as we break down that layer, it's going to start grabbing air, which is what's going to turn it into that whipped cream. So that's how we're slowly turning it into whipped cream.
I think I'm losing.
You still hear sloshing?
Yeah, well, the one is getting a little bit more solid, so I think I'm on the right track.
Yeah. So normally when we do this,
mine's getting quieter.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's just it starting to fill up with air. And this is the part that definitely gets the most exhausting because it really feels like you're doing nothing. But I promise when it stops making noise and you keep shaking, it's definitely still working. It's honestly the most confusing part of it.
Oh, I think this one's good.
We're both silent over here.
That's good. Keep shaking as it's silent. Yep, yours is starting to turn.
Wow.
So do I keep going, Emily?
Yep, you can keep going.
Okay. Yeah, I can hear the liquid again.
Yes, so you did it already.
This one's not done yet, though.
No, so just keep in mind, like if we're finishing quicker than you are, it depends on the size of your container.
Right.
So the more milk or the more cream that you have, or the bigger the container, the more time it's going to take. So we both have pretty small containers, so it was really quick for us, but some of you might have colder milk or bigger containers and it'll take a little bit. So if you hear the liquid again, can you see a ball form in yours?
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah, so I'll dump mine out here.
I just wanted to say while you're doing that, I've seen a couple of names. I've seen some families from Kindersley and I missed the last one. So
someone near Davidson.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. Unity, there's somebody from. So we've got people all over the place.
So Emily, I'm assuming this is definitely how butter is made on a mass scale, right? Like this, with just people shaking containers?
It definitely not. I think we would never have enough butter if that was the case. But we actually have a processing plant here in Saskatoon, north of Saskatoon, where they process our milk and they'll make some cheese and some butter. So it'll all get done on a much larger, more efficient scale.
So I'm going to just take a minute and while we're still shaking, and I see somebody from Borden. That's awesome. And if anybody has questions while we're making butter, we'll be happy to share those with Emily and see if we can answer your questions. I think I have one, and I'm going to put all of the people under 5 foot tall. Here's your question. My question is, how many dairy servings a day? So how many different types of dairy do you need to eat? Does Canada's food guide say that you need to eat to be healthy? And I'll give you you can guess. Is it 2 to 3? Is it 3 to 4? Or is it 4 to 5 servings that a kid from age 9 to 18 needs to eat every day? So Ella, you go first. Do you think it's 2 to 3, 3 to 4, or 4 to 5?
4 to 5, I would say.
Ella says 4 to 5. What do you think, Grayson?
3 to 4.
3 to 4. And do you have a guess, Ryland?
3 to 4.
Okay.
Fruits, no, they're dairy. You're right. It's 3 to 4, but you can keep eating 5 a day. That's okay. That was great. Good job.
Emily, butter is obviously one wonderful dairy product, but what are some other ones that are important to your nutrition? Like why is dairy important to human nutrition?
Dairy is a great source of calcium. It's a great source of healthy fats, and it's also a great source of protein. So between yogurt, your cheeses, just regular whole milk. You can get so many nutrients in such a small amount of food and small amount of calories. So it's really easy to get all these important nutrients, and it's delicious.
I
Specifically
agree with
ice
that.
cream.
I agree with that.
Ours looks funky. We better keep shaking.
So what's yours look like? Is it looking a little bit like it's kind of starting to get like lumpy almost?
Together. It's coming together. Here, where's my camera? It's coming
Yeah.
together. We're getting there.
Yeah.
We've got 2 things in there.
So I don't know if you have an extra container or anything near you, but so that liquid that's in there with the butter, so you look like you've got whipped cream in there. So you got to keep shaking. Keep shaking.
A little bit more.
You're going to be very strong today.
I think I've reached my final form, Emily.
I think you have. You got a little butter ball, which is awesome.
I've got some crackers here. I'll wait for everybody else to finish.
At the end, let me know if you can see this. I know it's a little bright in my house, but there is butter. So there's a little ball of butter. I'm just going to pick it up with my hands. A little gross, but that's okay. So you've got a little ball of butter, and then you're going to have liquid at the bottom. And have you ever heard of buttermilk? Yeah.
Yes.
So buttermilk is the byproduct of making butter. So essentially, we've pushed that liquid out, and buttermilk is something that you can actually, a lot of people will bake with. Some people like to drink it. It's got a little bit of a different taste. I don't know if you've had it before. Almost a little bit sour, but people really like to make buttermilk pancakes or buttermilk biscuits. So if you make butter at home and you make enough that you get enough buttermilk, you can actually make your own pancakes and then put the butter on top of it. It's really fun to do, actually.
Ooh.
Yep.
It adds a little bit of tang to it, and I just like that it's tangy.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely tangy. So did you have any other questions while people keep shaking? I know everyone's kind of going to be at a different pace today.
Well, I would ask if anybody at home wants to tell us if they're at the whipped cream stage or if they're getting closer to butter.
Let's see if anybody else has made butter.
I think Ella's got a real sloshy sound again. So it sounds
Dorothy says that Ethan has a lump of butter now and some white liquid. So Ethan has made it to the butter stage.
Yay, Ethan.
Oh, awesome.
Oh, awesome, you guys. That's great. Yeah, so
Alexander Miller says mine's turning into butter slowly.
Alexander, Ella is going faster than me.
Here's a really good question for you, Emily. What is the difference between skim milk and whole milk?
It's a really good question. So this is actually this 33%. That you'll see that whole milk will have 3.25%. Skim milk has 0. So all of the percentages is actually the percentage of fat inside of the dairy products. So skim milk is with all of the fat removed, whereas like this has a lot of fat left in. So you could not try to make butter or whipped cream with skim milk.
Okay, because the fat content just isn't there.
Right, there is no fat or very, very little fat in that. So that was a really good question though.
That was a very good question.
And now it looks like Maeve also has a lump of butter.
Yay!
So getting there. I think I'm getting closer. Is this?
You are.
Yes, you're getting very close. Like I bet you like 10 more shakes, roughly.
I poured some buttermilk out, so now it's not so juicy.
We have some more success. We have some more success stories. I made butter from the mustard farmer joining on YouTube.
Yay!
Great job. I think one of the things we wanted to make sure we were saying was dairy products. One of the reasons we're here celebrating Ag Day are great, not only because they taste great, but they also make healthy bones. And what else?
Food.
Teeth. healthy teeth, bones, and muscles. So we wanted to make sure that we got that up. And look, we've got more. I'm gonna wreck your name. Is it Kiana and Adri from Nipawin. Holy smokes! I apologize for not saying your names better, guys.
I am dreaming of what I could potentially add to this butter. I'm thinking some garlic and some herbs and cook with some potatoes and chicken and would just make the most delicious supper.
After I've worked so hard to make this lump, I plan to melt mine and put it on popcorn this afternoon.
Ooh.
That's good. I'm just gonna do the casual. I'm gonna put it on some saltines.
Yes.
Butter and crackers.
So Emily, could you add salt to this mixture if you wanted to?
Yep, you absolutely can. So if you want to make butter at home, some people will add a salt. You just have to be very careful not to add too much. It can get really salty really quickly.
Okay.
So we add like a teeny tiny pinch, unless you have a big container. Obviously, the bigger the container, the more salt you can put in. But absolutely, you can add any types of little flavorings in to make your butter exactly how you want to.
Awesome. Mr. Johnson says hi. Hi, Mr. Johnson.
That's awesome. And Alexander has a lump of butter, and I'm so proud of my lump of butter. Look at that.
Look at that, Lori.
That's a pat. Like that could be in a restaurant. Come on.
I know.
Oh,
my
here's a really
goodness.
here's a really good question from Ethan. Why does the butter turn yellow once it's done?
That is actually it's I think it's more of like the solidified fats coming together, but that's something I would have to double check on. I've never actually looked that up before. That's a really, really good question.
We've got some good questions today.
Yes, we do. We always do.
Angela and Lincoln say hello from Saskatoon.
Oh, you guys are by me.
Are we still going? Is anybody still shaking?
Ellis is a little bit soft. So did we shake too hard, or do we just need to keep going, do you think?
So at that phase, I would say you got to keep going a bit. So sometimes right now I just made another batch of butter. Sometimes if you shake it after it's formed a ball, it'll get like mushy. So it is possible to overshake it, but you can still eat it. It tastes just the same. It's just a little bit warmer is all. It essentially like melts a little bit.
I think hers is ready for the popcorn.
Yeah.
I bet.
Another great question. Do they add vitamins A and D to milk before they sell it at the grocery store?
There are different types of products that you can buy with additives in it. But milk itself has a lot of wonderful nutrients into it, but it'll say on the containers that you purchase if it was added or not. So you'll be able to check on your containers if it's like fortified with vitamins, A, E, D, C, whatever. So great question.
And Emily, what can you tell me about the blue cow? What does the blue cow mean?
That is a great question. So the blue cow logo, I don't know if I have one with me, but I don't know. I guess can anybody in chat say if they've seen these little blue cow logos on dairy products before? See if anybody answers, but you'll recognize it if you see it. And those little blue cow logos are just making sure that you know that your products were produced in Canada. So these logos essentially say we know that our milk comes from cows that are taken care of, they're healthy and happy, and we know all of the Canadian regulations are really, really great for dairy cows and dairy farmers. So that little logo kind of ensures us that our product is from Canada and we know that our cows are healthy and happy. So
awesome.
Really great logo to look for.
Oh, we are wondering how much cream you need to make a cup of butter.
Ooh, that's a great question. I know it's about like 20 liters of cream will make a pound.
There's the blue logo.
Yes.
Sorry, that took me more than I thought.
So it takes about 20 liters to make a pound. So it wouldn't take too much, I don't think, to make a.
And
I don't think it would take too much.
This is 1 liter, right?
Right.
So 20 of these to make 1 pound of butter that you get at the store. Those, you get some pipes.
So even if you dump out the buttermilk and you just like hold the little bit of butter we made today, it's fairly light. So in the butter that we get at the stores, it's really kind of compacted. So it'll take a bit to make that stick of butter.
Dexter is asking, can you add garlic?
Sure. Garlic, I think, is one of the ones that would probably be good to add after. So you can add the salt and shake it. And then afterwards, when you spread the butter on something or you're making some kind of sauce or whatever, you can add garlic to it after it's made. But I think I would definitely probably wait to add the garlic until after shaking. The more you add, the longer it might take.
Okay. Sarah is asking, what is the difference between margarine and butter?
Margarine tends to have, it's made from vegetable oils.
Mm-hmm.
So margarine is not actually made from dairy. So it's just two different types of healthy fats. Both are really great for you. Just some people prefer margarine over butter. If you're baking and cooking, they definitely act a little bit differently, but both are delicious.
Mm-hmm.
And in Saskatchewan, lots of our margarine comes from canola.
Right.
So the yellow canola fields, that's usually headed for margarine.
That's right.
Then there's butter from the dairy industry. And we're getting hungry over here. We're just about ready to have a taste test, but we'll wait.
I have a question, Emily. If we were wanting to keep this butter, how could we do that safely? Like if I wasn't going to maybe use it until tonight, later, or tomorrow morning for my breakfast toast, what would I need to do with it?
So what I do is I will pour out the buttermilk. I keep them separate because I do use the buttermilk to make pancakes. I would highly suggest it. It's amazing. But I'll actually kind of dry the butter off a bit. Like I'll kind of put it in a paper towel and kind of pat it down. And then I put it in a container and just put it in the fridge in a sealed container, and it is just fine. You can keep it for a couple of days for sure. You can still use it. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah. So I'm putting some butter on some crackers so we can.
Yes, I've got my crackers here too.
I think at one point we said Grayson might have a question. Do you have a question, Grayson?
Yes, I do. How much milk does a cow produce in one day?
That's a really good question. Cows can produce, what would you guess? Do you have any idea?
No.
This is 1 liter. How many of these do you think a cow can make a day?
5.
It's a good guess. It's more than that.
10.
More than 10. Keep going up.
25.
Close. You're getting close.
30.
Yeah, so we're around 30 to 40 of these a day cows can make. So they make a lot of milk every single day.
Yeah.
Wow. Great question. Good
That's
job.
a really great question. That is.
There's another question here. It says, how do they get cheese in different colors? Blue, orange, white, all those different colors that cheese come in.
So cheese definitely is not my area of expertise, but cheese there's a lot of chemistry that goes into making cheese and different additives, and the cheese has to sit out for different amount of times with different things. So there's a lot of things chemically that goes into not chemically, but chemical processes that happen when making cheese that will change their color, their taste, their content. It depends on how long they're resting for. What gets added to them before they rest, the type of environment they're resting in. So a lot of different things can add to what cheese looks like, but that's a really great question. And cheese itself is a very interesting topic if you like science, especially.
I love cheese, all kinds.
I love cheese too.
Me too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, are we all ready to have a taste?
I'm ready.
Awesome. Okay, cheers. Here's the Canada's Ag Day.
That's good.
Tastes like butter.
It's good.
It's good.
You made that.
I know people always sometimes get so surprised. They're like, it tastes just like butter. I'm like, it is butter. You did it. You did it. And if you didn't add salt, if you add a tiny bit of salt, it might taste a little bit more familiar to the stuff you buy at the store. But I tend to buy unsalted butter anyway. So it's really delicious and a really fun way to make butter at home.
We have salted crackers, so it tastes just exactly like what I would have expected it.
We've all had a very successful day. We've made butter. I think that's more than we could say on most days of making our own food.
Well, and I think that was one of the things we wanted to do today, was just because it's Canada's Ag Day, we wanted to take a minute and see if we couldn't make our own food, because we are very lucky here in Canada that we don't have to all make our own food, and we have safe and affordable food. So that's really what today is about, is to have an opportunity to appreciate and say thanks to everybody that's working on farms, that's working in food production, that's working in research, like yourself, Emily, with the research barns. So I hope that you've enjoyed making butter with us. I want to let everybody know, if you are interested in other learning activities today, there are some more online activities that you could join in on. I know Ag in the Classroom Canada is going to have live farm tours from farms across the country. And those start actually at noon our time. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern, which is noon our time. There's 4 different tours, and they're all about half an hour each. So if you're interested, I think we're going to put up the link to the Ag in the Classroom tours in the chat window, or you can also find it at DLC and Me. And then if you're interested in a tour here in Saskatchewan, the Farm and Food Care Saskatchewan group is going to be hosting some information on beef cows. So they're going to be the Livestock Forage Center of Excellence, and they'll have a vet there, and they'll have some beef researchers. So if you're interested in beef cows, feel free to tune in at 1 o'clock with them here today. And again, the link should be in the chat. So we'd love it if you were interested in those, to check those out. And if you have any questions and you've missed that, you can always email us at dlchelp at SunWest SD. I'm seeing more notes that people have made butter and it tastes good. That's fantastic. So I want to take a minute and say thank you. Thank you to our butter making helpers. Thank you, Freed family, Grayson and Rylan. Jackie, you guys did great.
Great job.
Thanks so much, Emily, for leading us through. And unless anybody has anything else, I'll say thanks, and we'll see you again next time.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Happy
Happy Canada's Egg Day. Woo!
See you.